Splatoon, the shooty-shooty bang-bang for people who don't like shooty-shooty bang-bangs. Yeah, you guys thought Nintendo wasn't actually capable of making these types of games. Well, think again. Released on May 28, 2015, for the Nintendo Wii U, this game truly showed us that Nintendo isn't all about just running around and stomping on Goombas and Koopa Troopas for kicks and giggles. As long as the third-person shooting games they make don't involve any blood, gore, or other violent shenanigans in them, I guess it's all good in the hood from here on out. So the game's questions are, how do all these Inklings somehow transform from a kid to a squid as quick as a slip of spaghetti? Why did it take so long for all those special updates to finally make it into the game's multiplayer mode? Why do all the Zapfish have these little curly mustaches on the side of their faces? And why isn't there any red ink to be found anywhere in this game? Well, time to get all linked up. This game is primarily a team-based third-person shooter that can be played by up to 8 players at once in online 4 vs 4 matches. However, the game also features local 1 vs 1 multiplayer matches, as well as a single-player campaign adventure, but more on that later. In this game, you control these anthropomorphic humanoid squid creatures known as Inklings, who all have the ability to somehow shapeshift in between humanoid and squid forms of themselves. While in humanoid form, you can shoot ink in your own team's color, which can be used in order to either cover up the whole environment surrounding you, or splat opposing players or enemies. Transforming into a squid allows you to quickly swim through the ink of your own color. Heck, you can even swim up ink-covered walls and directly through fences and grates. Doing this also allows you to hide from nearby enemies or opponents, as well as replenishing your ink supply in the process. This is very important to remember when you're running low on ink during an intense match. Conversely, the enemy's ink is much slower to walk across in humanoid form, cannot be swum through in squid form, and gradually deals more damage to you. You can use your own ink in order to try and splat the other opponents, which causes them to be sent all the way back to their team's official starting point, while also providing a large splat of ink as a result. In all the game's multiplayer modes, except for the 2-player one, you can also use the Wii U gamepad in order to view a map of all your surroundings and instantly launch yourself towards the location of another teammate, as well as using optional gyroscopic controls in order to assist yourself with aiming your ink shots. Also, Inklings can't swim. Kinda weird if you ask me, considering these guys can just turn into squids whenever they want to. Man, I can just never understand video game logic sometimes. Man, just thinking about this game makes me want to chow down on some fried calamari right about now. I wonder if they serve any of that stuff in the main hub world of this game. You always head into matches while wielding a primary ink weapon of some sort, with each one featuring different statistics and traits. This also includes a secondary weapon, such as sprinklers, disruptive fields, and ink-filled balloons, as well as a special attack that can be charged up by covering enough of the ground with your own ink. Primary paint weapons always range from the players whose firing patterns resemble various types of firearms, to melee weapons such as ink brushes, sloshers, also known as ink buckets, and splat rollers, my personal favorite weapon in this game. Certain ink weapons are sold in sets that can be purchased with your own money earned from participating in specific matches, with even more sets becoming available to buy as you get more experience points by leveling up in between matches. In addition to all that stuff, you can also customize your own playable character's headgear, clothes, shoes, and other things from all the neighboring shops in the main hub world, with even more items becoming available for purchase as your in-game level increases. Each item carries a special ability that improves your overall statistics, such as faster respawning time, or longer duration for those special abilities. Additional abilities can be unlocked by gaining more experience points in battle. When you encounter other players in the main hub world, you can choose to order an item that another player is wearing, and then purchase it the very next day from this creepy urchin-haired guy named Spike, the back alley dealer, for a much higher price. Okay, hold up. As I just mentioned previously, why is there no red ink in this game? I mean, it's my all-time favorite color, so why doesn't Nintendo like the color red very much? Mario wears red. This game also supports all different kinds of amiibo figures as well, with each figure unlocking a set of missions that each give you some extra equipment, such as weapons and clothing. This also unlocks a bonus minigame upon completion, and the latter of which can be selected and played on the Wii U gamepad while just sitting there and waiting in boring old lobbies. You could also make your very own posts to the game's Miiverse community, which actually sometimes appeared as graffiti on various buildings in the main hub world, but obviously none of that is even a thing anymore, so rip Miiverse, I guess. Also, is it just me, or is that Nemo hiding out in Annie's anemone-like hairstyle in the headgear shop? Pretty sure that fish needs water to survive on its own. Wait, so this game has Finding Nemo characters in it? Who's next? Woody and Buzz Lightyear? Or Sully and Mike Wazowski? The online multiplayer in this game is split up into regular or turf war types and ranked game types. Each one of these match types goes through a rotation of 2 maps, which are always changing once every 4 hours or so. In the ranked games, you either gain or drop certain ranks based solely on consecutive wins and losses, ranging from C- all the way to S+, which is a grade that doesn't even exist in school. Who knew? But anyways, having a higher rank increases the amount of money and experience you earn after winning a match. There are 4 different types of modes, or rule sets, that are all used for battling in online matches, and each one needs at least 2 teams consisting of a maximum amount of 4 players for each team. Turf War is the only mode in the entire game that is used for just regular matches, but the ranked matches are always changing in between the other 3 modes, which are Splat Zones, Tower Control, and Rainmaker. At the end of every match, Garfield's twice-removed cousin Flargield determines which team covered up the environment with the most amount of ink. Heck, sometimes a team can totally knock out the other team in terms of ink. That just goes to show you just how powerful your ink truly is in this game. Huh. You know, I now have the sudden and incredible urge to chow down on some lasagna squares right about now, and I have no idea why or how. Turf War is where each team tries to cover up most of the environment as possible with their own ink within just 3 minutes. The team that inks up the most turf before the time runs out wins the game. Splat Zones is basically a King of the Hill style mode. Each team tries to control designated areas by keeping them all covered up in their own ink. The team that achieves this accomplishment gets their counter value decreased at a constant rate. The team that has the lowest value on their counter wins the game. Tower Control is where each team tries to board the floating tower located in the center of the arena map. When a player boards the tower, it begins to move towards a target located at the end of the opponent's side of the map along a predetermined path. The team that moves the floating tower closest to the opponent's target on the other side wins the game. And finally, we have Rainmaker, which is basically a capture the flag style mode. The players on each team try to pick up the Rainmaker and carry it towards a specific target on the opponent's side of the arena map. After the Rainmaker is picked up by a certain player, that player can then drop the Rainmaker by either getting splatted by an opponent on the other team, or unintentionally going out of bounds. The Rainmaker can also be used as a weapon as well, and it never uses any ink whatsoever. And just like Tower Control, the team that carries the Rainmaker closest to the opponent's target on the other side wins the game. Yes, same objective as the previous mode, I know. Ink. Hallelujah, it's raining. Ink. I think. In Battle Dojo, the game's local multiplayer mode, up to 2 players can compete with each other in order to pop balloons in the area, with one player using the Wii U gamepad, and the other player using the TV with either a Wii U Pro controller or a Wii Classic controller. The TV player can also use either controller in conjunction with a Motion Plus enabled Wiimote in order to somehow recreate the Wii U gamepad's gyroscopic controls in some way. And then we have these time-limited Splatfest events, which were all held in the multiplayer playstyle from June 2015 to July 2016. During these special events, you had the ability to choose between one of 2 different teams, and then earn some points towards a player rank and your team based solely on your performance. Are you an art or a science kind of guy? Would you rather visit the past or the future? Are you an early bird or a night owl? You know, questions along those lines. But anyways, the members of the winning team, which were all decided by popularity and overall performance, each earned these things called Super Sea Snails. These special items could be used in order to respec and add additional perks to your equipment, with the losing team earning even fewer snails. Following the final Splatfest event, which officially ended on July 24th, 2016, Super Sea Snails can still be earned by winning a certain number of online matches. Okay, hold up. How on Squidville did Nintendo not get sued for deciding to include Transformers, Pokemon, and even SpongeBob SquarePants characters into these Splatfests? Man, they must really know how to brilliantly sneak past the copyright censors now, do they? Okay, I guess I'll talk a little bit about Octo Valley as well, just to get it out of the way. Octo Valley is basically the main story mode of this game. It's a single-player campaign in which you are recruited by war veteran Captain Cuttlefish, isn't that a cute name, in order to rescue Inkopolis' main source of power, the Great Zapfish, from the evil Octarians. You use a standard default ink shooting weapon for this mode, which can be enhanced with either upgrades or power-ups by collecting these things called power eggs littered across each stage. The goal of each level is to navigate through all different kinds of enemies and obstacles in order to reach the Zapfish at the end. Each level also contains a hidden sunken scroll as well, with each one revealing some kind of backstory and lore surrounding the main setting of the game. After you clear all the levels in an area, you then unlock a boss stage to clear in order to proceed onwards to the next area in the game. Clearing each boss stage also unlocks special blueprints that can all be exchanged at the armory shop for even more weapon options. I also think it's pretty cool how you just launch yourself from platform to platform in each stage. It kind of reminds me of the Mario Galaxy games where Mario flies from planet to planet in each galaxy. Now that's a nice touch, I gotta say. And now for the flaws.
let's get to them before the Rainmaker decides to pour a whole bunch of gooey ink all over me.
The first flaw that I have with this game is the single-player campaign mode being kinda short. It's only 5 areas long, and each area only has 6 stages in it, including the boss stage at the end. I kinda wish they expanded upon these areas a little bit more, because the way it is now, it doesn't really spruce up my cup of tea all that much, whatever that means. The second flaw with the game is not being able to choose multiple different weapons in this mode. You see, in every level, you're always stuck with the same old ink shooter every time, which doesn't really give off a ton of variety if you ask me. But hey, at least the sequel fixed this problem only 2 years later, so I guess we can all pat ourselves on the back as a very special thanks for that glorifying solution. The third and final flaw is the complete and utter absence of voice chat in the multiplayer modes of this game. I mean, come on, Nintendo, is it really that hard to add voice chat into your own games? Why won't you let us engage in pleasant conversations while battling against each other? It doesn't make any flippin' sense, man!
Okay, hold up. Why is there still no Splatoon 3 for the Switch yet? I mean, does Nintendo not think 3 is the magic number?
But anyways, despite all these flaws, you just can't help but praise this game for its mechanics, presentation, and gameplay, as well as a refreshing new take on the shooting genre of gaming. Like seriously, this has to be one of the most fun online Wii U games out there due to all the unique and interesting ways each online match is played out from all the ink mechanics, which also really helped counteract potential boredom from the absurdly low number of playable maps at launch. This truly was Nintendo's first game in a long time that attempted to really revitalize and reinvent a gaming genre that often feels pretty stagnant at times. So with that being said, I'm giving Splatoon a nice and hearty 81 out of 100 Mario hats. The visual art style of this game really contrasts all the other realistic shooting games out there with this whole 90s Nickelodeon cartoon aesthetic, along with a really catchy soundtrack on top of all that. Now sure, this kind of daring and creative venture will still have its many flaws, but if anything, we should all be glad that it was Nintendo themselves who was taking the very first step into a brand new gaming territory. This game truly is a nice breath of fresh air, or should I say, a nice splotch of fresh ink for those who like to shoot stuff, but also for those who have grown tired of the endless bloody churn of gritty realistic shooters. Keep on inking and splatting all those devious opponents, everybody!
Okay guys, so next time we meet, we'll be taking a look at Super Mario Maker 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Yep, that's right. Mario is now officially back with his building phase. So this time, it's time to test out even more creative mechanics and let all the crazy come out once again. So stay tuned for that. Oh, and remember, gaming is not a crime. Until then, and stay awesome sauce. Make it stop, make it stop.